tickets, it's sales in our gift shop, it's tickets to the Andy Griffith Museum. The museum had a huge hit financially, and a huge hit for the economy, the local economy. We were on track. The Surry Arts Council was on track to have the biggest year it's ever had in 2020, 2019-20. We had in 2019, and I'm going to calendar year now because that's about the only comparisons that are meaningful. In 2019, the Andy Griffith Museum had a record high of 67,000 visitors. That's huge. In 2020, we can compare that to 2019, we had over 40,000. That's still great, but it's a 40% decline in revenue for the museum, and you have plans for that revenue. But we, on a positive note, and we do have one positive financial note in our massive budget, the gift shop in the Andy Griffith Museum is actually a 10-foot long counter. And that gift shop, even with the 40% drop in visitors, the gift shop increased by 15%, went to 6 figures in sales of product from a 10-foot counter. So go figure. I think the people who came here wanted to buy Andy Griffith t-shirts because we couldn't believe it. So we started paying very close attention to inventory, very close attention to what was selling. We mandated masks, and we sold Renfro masks up there, and bought kids masks. And if you walked up and didn't have one, we sold you one, and we still are doing that. But obviously these days, everybody has a mask. But currently, the museum, the Old Time Music Hall, the Betty Lynn exhibits, the Siamese Twins exhibit, current programs, they're open 7 days a week. They've been open 7 days a week. We're not changing. We might have 6 people come. During Labor Day weekend, we had over 1,000 people visit the Andy Griffith Museum. That was actually more people than visited during Mayberry days. So Labor Day blew us away. I don't know how the hotels did. I think people were just wanting to get out. I think that Mount Airy is well positioned with being a small town, having things to do outside, things to do, small inside things to do with low numbers. I think we're well positioned going forward. We have not started back community theater. We can't. We have not started back the Blue Ridge and Beyond series. We have not started back the Jam programs, but we do at the Andy Griffith Playhouse have Surry Sings. We have Golden Notes. We're starting a new readers theater for adults. We have acting classes for youth. They're all spread out up there. Shelby, our artistic director and dance instructor, has done an amazing job with her dance program. She has over 120 dancers who come weekly. That's a record for our dance program. And she spaces them. They stand on their little X's, ages 3 and up, and they get their temperatures taken, and the little things wear masks, and everybody is happy and feels safe. So it's definitely a source of pride for me. Our staff has been amazing. Maddie continues to do Zoom classes. We have partnerships, and those two, prior to COVID, were going to Renfro and doing classes and exercise classes and dancercise. They were doing, Maddie was doing Brews and Brushes at Thirsty Souls and White Elephant and Loaded Goat and the Pages Bookstore. Those have been suspended, and hopefully we can get a better report from the governor and restart those things in March. But we have a lot of programming going on. It's just small more things, smaller numbers.
Right. Right.
And really, for the future, it's pretty easy. We want to reopen, and we have plans to reopen. We have 52 concerts scheduled starting in April for the amphitheater. We can't have community theater till venues are opened up more and the indoor numbers are increased. But certainly a side note for our future plans, I don't know if I mentioned we have a 24-member board, and I think I saw names of a couple of board members on here, but we have a fund drive coming up. Last year, we did not meet our goal for the first time since 2008, but Nicole Harrison and Will Shepard are going to kick off virtually for the first time on February 11th. But a thing that we're also doing that you might have read about is that when COVID hit, we were in the middle of our first ever capital campaign, attempting to raise $4 million. Now that number is down to 3 million. We took the top off the building. It's now a one-story building. It will house a Siamese Twins museum and a multi-purpose space, which we are really, really wanting. And it's positioned, people ask me frequently, where is it going to be? If you imagine a building with its back to Hutchins Laundry, that's where it's going to be. So that multi-purpose room is actually overlooking the amphitheater. The plaza outside overlooks the amphitheater, so it will significantly affect the amphitheater experience, but it will also provide us space, much needed program space, because our spaces have now been converted from tourist spaces to art studios and dance studios and archive spaces. So we are looking forward in 2021, this year, to putting a shovel in the ground for this venue. We are not going to get loans. Whatever the money amount is in the bank, that's the amount we will spend on the venue. But the Siamese Twins Museum will attract an entirely new demographic than the Andy Griffith fans. And as Lenise said a few weeks ago in a talk, we're losing our business travelers, and they probably won't come back in the numbers that they were traveling before, because Zoom things have saved everybody time and money and are fairly effective. So we need to focus on a new demographic to get to come into this town and spend their money and spend the night. We are very hopeful because we had in 2019 just signed, coordinated with the city, a sister city agreement, memorandum of understanding with the village in Thailand at their invitation. That village has 195,000 people, and we have 10,000, and they invited us to be a sister city. The Secretary of the State of North Carolina attended, Cultural Resources attended, and it was a very big deal. The Thai embassy and the Thai government in Bangkok sent 25 people here for that event. And so there is a tremendous amount of potential that got, punched pause when COVID hit. Anyway, that's where we are. There's massive opportunity for partnerships with businesses, nonprofits, with the Surry Arts Council. You can participate here in our programs and in theater when we reopen that. You can volunteer here, whatever age you are, and you can also, be our partner. So I am hugely grateful. I have left many stones unturned, but hopefully I've let you know that we are very, very busy. We are changing every day, and we are very hopeful for the future of the arts in Mount Airy. The real estate business in Surry County has definitely seen people moving here. Ben Curran moved here. He's a fan.
Right.
Robbie Curley moved here. He's a fan. There are folks literally who come here and tell us that the day they retire and they have it down, they are moving to Mount Airy. Not what has evolved, and certainly the Mount Airy, the Andy Griffith Museum was a challenge, because Andy Griffith did not just do the Andy Griffith Show. Andy Griffith had successful career in recording in the film industry, not just one television show, but two, Matlock, and his successes were massive. They were, the last music video he did was with Brad Paisley, and it was a huge success. So folks come in, literally the locals bring in their guests who want to come here, and that's how we get local visitors.
Right.
But they're like, oh, I didn't know it was a real museum. Oh, I didn't know.
Well, there are many people just within the state. We meet now. Jessica and her team do a great job at the visitor center. I have an opportunity to meet some of them, and I will tell you that it absolutely, positively, these are people that wait sometimes their entire life to come to Mount Airy to see and walk the streets that Andy Griffith walked. So, my hat's off to you.
It's not the Andy Griffith Show anymore. It's Mayberry, and Mayberry, the word Mayberry, everybody, every media nationally knows what Mayberry means when you say it. And that word has come to mean the iconic small town. And we are blessed that Andy Griffith named this thing Mayberry, and that people associate the iconic small town with Mount Airy. But you mentioned also the old time music, and we have been just as committed to the preservation of old time music as we have to the quality experience for those seeking Mayberry comment. Another thing I failed to mention was school programs. And we do over $50,000 a year in school programming for 24 county schools. Maybe it's 25 now, for the Surry County schools, the Mount Airy City schools, and Millennium Charter. These are all free. All of the funds are from either grants that we write or collaborate with the schools to write, Arts Ball income, Mayberry Days bake sale income, but we earmark all these funds for the schools, and all the schools participate in the Arts Ball. And thank you to Rogers Realty and Dustin Rogers for working with us at no charge on the first ever online silent auction. But all that money goes to our school programs, and that's a huge part of our operation. We bus in over 10,000 kids a year, and we provide programming in their schools in addition for over 10,000 kids a year. So it's a very big deal to us.